I was so I was in the Bahamas. I've been doing track and field from I was 6 years old.
Right.
Um, I've started. I started out in a track club. It was called the Striders Track Club at the time. Um, my father, he had he wanted me and my son, my brother to do track and field. So he put us in the track club, which was the Striders Track Club, and we started track from 6 years old. And I also played basketball at the same time. Um, but when I think when I was like about 8, that's when everybody started to realize that I probably, I was a good sprinter, and also I had springs where I was able to jump. I always was able to be, to jump and stuff. So that's when I started doing long jump and high jump. And so that's where it all started for me. And I started, and my first Carifta games I was in the 10th grade, and
Right.
I ended up getting a gold medal in the triple jump, and that's when the triple jump started. And then after that, not too long after that, I started getting a few schools in the United States hitting me up and offering me scholarships.
So that's particular, yeah. So they offered you scholarship to go to high school there. Is that correct?
Right. To finish high school in the United States. And so the reason why I chose Florida Prep is because it was a boarding school. I didn't have any family in the United States, so it was a boarding school at the time, and so my parents was like, that's probably a better move for me,
So how old were you when you went to that school to Florida?
I was about 16 or 17.
That's awesome. So like at 17, you just went to the States and like decided to focus on jump, and then like obviously academically you could also like improve there.
Yeah, it was a college prep school too. So I was awarded a scholarship for track and field, but I also was able to play basketball as well, because basketball was also my number one sport as well.
That's awesome. Great. So you were doing 2 sports at Florida Prep, and then you transitioned to the NJCAA, I believe. After that, I think you went to Barton Community College. It's a JUCO.
I went to Barton County Community College. At first, let me just talk a little bit about that, because at first, everybody wants to go right into Division I schools, and I thought it was in the beginning. I thought it was a bad thing in the beginning, but it ended up being a good thing in the long run, because the size of the school, and I was able to do more one-on-ones with my professors. It helped me a lot with transitioning into D1 schools. The reason why I went to junior college is because my SAT scores wasn't high enough. It wasn't that I was not a good student. I had A's and B's coming out of Florida Prep.
Right.
Everybody, they take tests different. I don't think I was as fast test taker. You know what I mean? So the pace that that you had to go at, I think it was a little too fast for me at the time, which is why I couldn't pass those standardized tests. But as time went on, I got better and better. And junior college actually helped me a lot with that. With my speech classes, smaller classrooms, because I would have probably been a little bit overwhelmed if I had went straight to Auburn University coming out of high school, and I just needed a little bit more development.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I feel like you definitely hear a lot of stories where like high school level athletes go to university like way too quick and they're not quite ready, and then maybe they drop off and like have all issues.
Exactly.
Even it affects their eligibility and stuff. So like, yeah, I guess it was an awesome. And also Barton has like an awesome history of success. Like they've had so many like great athletes go there, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of great athletes coming out there. We had right before me, had Walter Davis, and we had Tyson Gay, we had Veronica Campbell, Omar Brown. We had a lot of great athletes coming out of Barton County. Derek Brew.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of great athletes.
And then from Barton, you decided you went to Auburn University, a Division I school, right?
I did chose Auburn over a lot of schools. The reason why chose Auburn because I was loyal. I was being loyal to my it was a Bahamian coach there, Henry Roll, who was recruiting me. He actually coached me a little bit when I was in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he coached me when I was a little bit in high school before he went off to Oral Roberts and started coaching in the United States. So he's been watching me and recruiting me ever since then. And that's the reason why I chose Auburn University.
That makes a lot of sense. That's actually like one of the questions I was going to ask you, which was like, you've been through maybe so many coaches because you went from Bahamas to like Florida and then NJCAA and then Auburn. But I guess you had that one coach that was kind of there through all parts, or he was there at the beginning and in Auburn.
Yeah, he was there. He coached me before, like a couple of years before I went off to Florida Air Academy.
Right.
So he was one of the first coaches that started coaching me in triple jump. So he's the one who, he started the triple jump era for me.
Sweet.
So
yeah, great. But then still in Florida, and then in Barton, you still had different coaches coach you a little bit, and then in Auburn, you went back with him. Is that what happened, or?
Yeah, it's high school, So after he left, I ended up going with another coach, Mr. Pratt. Mr. Pratt. He's the older coach. He's been around for generations, and he was a triple jumper himself. And then I went off to high school where I had my other coach, Coach Kulak. He was more of a distance coach.
Okay.
But he was my coach at Florida Academy. And after that, I went to junior college with Coach Brahman. Lance Brahman. He coaches a lot of elite athletes,
right.
Adidas athletes in Orlando. So he was awesome. He was a great coach too. He's the one who got me to the 57 feet 5 inches in junior college.
Nice.
That's great. Which at the time was probably ranked number 2 in the world.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah, because I think you did do some world teams while you were in community college, right? You teams.
Yeah, I did. I think it was my second year at junior college. I went overseas. I was ranked number 2 or 3 in the world.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I went overseas, and I did a lot of meets on the pro circuit, competing with the best in the world. And I also got a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games that year as well.
Nice.
And then the following year, I was a bronze medalist at the World Championship, which was my junior year in college.
That's great. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so you've been in the sport for so long. Do you have any tips for younger athletes? I know it's kind of a classic where there's some athletes that start track and field and getting specific super young, and then sometimes they burn out or mentally they get tired of it. But right now you're in your 30s right now, right? Are you?
I'm 38.
You're 38, and you've been doing it since you're 6, 7, 8 years old. So 30 years of track and field, and you're still in it and going after it. How did you manage to stay in it? Are you just passionate about it? You make the process fun, so that you don't get too overwhelmed and
Yeah, I mean, I was just always passionate. I always strive off of negativity. I know some people might say we shouldn't strive off negative things, but it's the negative things that drove me. You know what I mean? When people say, it's almost like when people tell you can't do something.
Yeah.
And you just go out and you just prove them wrong.
That's awesome.
So that's the way I kind of treated my career, and every time it was always exciting. You know what I mean? It was never a dull moment. I was having fun. I love what I do. I love the atmosphere of the crowd and getting the claps going. So all of this stuff played a major role in my success and the reason why I do what I do. And also my father, who passed 4 months ago, he was one of my greatest motivator. He would always have my back, and always, when I having those down times where I wanted to give up, he was that one person telling me, keep going. And he always tried to remind me of those kung fu movies that he had me watch when I was younger.
That's awesome.
Where in the kung fu movie where you would see in the beginning, you would see a kid, getting beat up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he then finds a master who would train him, and then he would then become, the master, and he would, be a great karate kid,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So
Awesome,
that's
yeah.
the kind of concept I kind of lived by, and he kind of instilled in me. And so I just carried that throughout my career, all the ups and downs.
Yeah, of course.
I just kept pushing through it. You know what I mean? Because I've had a lot of downs where, the injuries and just a lot of stuff I had to go through, to get right. But you just can't never stop. You got to keep going, never give up, never settle. Set your goals. I set high goals all the time, and I just keep pushing forward until I achieve it. Just don't give up until I get what I set my goal at.
That's awesome. So yeah, like you're saying, you did get in like some major injuries, I think, on your knee when you were jumping in 2014. Is that when it was?
2012.
2012. Yeah, sorry. So
yeah, that was London Olympics.
Yeah. So now you're back from that, I guess. Like you have no more problems with that. You're like training hard already, or?
Yeah, I came back. It was 2012, and I came. It took me 2 years of rehab.
That's long.
And it was devastating. You know what I mean? To be out for so long and not being able to do what you love and what you're passionate about doing.
Of course.
It's been some times where I wanted to like give in and throw in the towel during that time because I felt so alone.
Yeah.
The encouragement you need. I wasn't getting all of the encouragement that I thought I needed at the time, so I just kind of fought my way back, it took me 2 years. Like I say, 2 years of rehab. I fought my way back. I went to rehab once a day for almost 2 years.
Right. Awesome.
And I had to learn to walk again. I had to learn to jog again. I had to build my muscle strength and my quads, my hamstring. I had to build myself back up like a machine, And then in 2015 was my first year back, and I actually got a silver medal at the Pan Am Games in 2015.
Yeah, in Canada, right? I think.
Yes.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, in Canada.
Yeah, I'm based in Canada right now. I'm in Montreal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think I ever been to Montreal. I want to visit.
Yeah,
I went to Toronto.
Yeah, that's where the Pan Am Games were, right?
Yeah, I went to Toronto. I can't remember where else I went to Winnipeg, and that's about it, I think.
Nice. Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah.
Nice. Sure.
That's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So, and now you're also coaching. So you're coaching Northern Colorado University. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the University of Northern Colorado.
Right. So you're coaching University of Northern Colorado while you're training. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I'm doing both at the same time. Yeah. Which is, it's been kind of interesting, you know what I mean? But obviously, my kids that I coach, they comes first. And then, so I would make sure I'll get their workouts in and make sure they do what they're supposed to do. And then I take care of my training. That's how I tend to work it.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's something new, but it's doable,
Yeah. I guess you just need a lot of discipline and just like organization, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. Scheduling and organization is a big part of it.
So, great. So you're also the founder of Sands Pro Athletics. Coach high school athletes through that and have your clothing brand at the same time. Like, how does that? Talk to me a little bit about that, because you're an entrepreneur as well, right? You coach, train, and you have your own like brand and business on the side, right?
Yeah. So Sands Pro Athletics, I started that about 4 years ago. Whilst I was training, I've always been a professional athlete. As I was training, I always had people always hitting me up asking me if I could coach their son or coach their daughter. I just never had the time. And after my injury, I decided to, step out a little bit and work on some things that I wanted to do. I've always wanted my clothing line, and I have always wanted my own track club. So within those years after the injury, I started the Sands Pro Athletics Track Club. Before I started that, I wanted to do the clothing line first because I wanted everything to tie in together.
Right.
You know, so the Science Pro Athletics Club and the Science Pro Athletics clothing line.
Goes in together. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I kind of did both at the same time, and then the clothing line just is shot off. You know, with my logo, as you can see right here, this is one of my jumps
Yeah.
from the Olympic Games
That's
when I
awesome.
won my Olympic medal, and it's surrounded by wings, and there's the wings are kind of like the phoenix. You know, you rise up out of the ashes like the phoenix. You know,
Right.
so me coming back from the injury, it's like me rising up out of the ashes like a phoenix out of the fire. So that's how I came up with that concept.
That's a great way to see it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then also I've had other businesses too. I had my own cleaning business. I had Snow Biz and Sandpit Snacks, which is a shaved ice business. I had that for 9 or 10 years.
Oh, right. Awesome. Yeah.
So I've always done multiple streams of multiple things at the same time. I don't know how I did it, but definitely it was no sleep.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of pro athletes that are just like, they just focus on just their training, but you've been doing it all at the same time and still succeeding. Do you think that like helped you mentally, like not overthink things, and like you always had like other things to do as well? Like maybe that helped with like your longevity because you've been doing it for so long, right?
Yeah. So I've done it later in my career. You know, just as I got older and more wiser, you know, I did it later in my career where I started to invest later. But when I was younger, I wasn't even thinking about business and stuff.
Right, you were focusing on something, right?
Yeah, I was focusing on sports. But as I got older, you know, I started to think about, okay, life after track.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? But as far as longevity, I think with me, I'm a great athlete, right? But when I leave the track, I don't think about track at all.
Yeah,
I don't even follow track at all. So I think that's what helped me to keep going and keep that passion, because it didn't consume me at all. I didn't let it consume me. I was always, after training, you know, I do fun things after the meets. You know, even I might not win the meet, you know, but I just let it go. And I don't like talking about track and stuff after meets, and I just let it go.
Yeah, I guess that's an awesome way to see it. And yeah, great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
like that.
I think that's what kept me going, because I don't let it consume me. When I go home, I block that part out of my mind. It's like, you know, like business, you know?
Right. So you think it like business. Yeah, exactly.
I think about it like a business. So once I get home, I don't want to think about, jumping and track, you know what I mean? So I don't even, my kids could tell you, I don't even talk about track when I get home, you know? I don't, you know, even when I go to meets, and I go to major meets,
yeah,
I don't even like to sit around tables that people talking about track all day. Yeah, it's just my preference, you know?
Right. That makes sense. Great. I think that's about all I wanted to know about in terms of which college you went and like why you went. So like you went to Auburn mostly because of the coach. Then you had a great NCAA career where you were I think you won the long jump and the triple jump. You won the long jump.
I won both long and triple jump, NCAA champion for both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then after that you transitioned to pro, and I think you were with Mizuno, and then
I was my first contract I signed was with Adidas first.
With Adidas, okay. So you were
it was Adidas, and then I signed with Mizuno back in 2006.
Awesome. Okay.
2006, 2007, and I've been with Mizuno up until 2016.
Nice. Okay. Great. They stayed with you while you were going through your injury as well, right?
Oh yeah, that was awesome company. They supported me all the way through my rehab and the injury. They didn't drop me. You know, they stuck with me. You know, a lot of times other companies, you know, you get an injury, you know, and your contract is gone. You know,
exactly.
They cut your contract. You know.
Yeah.
So they were loyal, you know, and I really appreciate everything Mizuno have done for me, and you know, I appreciate those guys so much, you know.
That's great to hear. And then, so what's next for you now? You're coaching and you're training. You're probably training for next year, next summer, like the
Yeah. Yeah. So I am. Yeah, I'm coaching. I was hoping that this, Olympics would have been this year, because, like I said, this was going to be my last Olympics. But seeing that they switched it, they postponed it till next year. I'm going to train, and I'm going to train for next year Olympics, and that would be my last Olympics.
Right. So you're focused on that right now. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, training. Yeah, coaching and training for that as my main focus, and trying to help my little sister get there as well too.
Oh, awesome. Great. So yeah, it's like a family thing, right? You guys are all in athletics, I guess.
Yeah, I think all of us started. My brother started, my sister, me, and my sister, my two sisters. And but my baby sister, she's the last one, and she's the only one doing track right now.
Awesome, great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, best of luck with all of that.
Appreciate it. All right, good talking. Appreciate it.
No worries.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.